Hey, my name's Nick, and I wanted to bring you guys along on my journey of swapping a new engine into my Corvette. Now, a little bit about the Vet. It's a 1969, third generation of the Corvette. I picked this car up about 2 years ago from sitting in someone's front yard. Now, the current engine in this Corvette is out of a donor truck. It's a 1972 C10 pickup 350, so it's very underpowered. Now, let's get started. What we're doing here is we're loosening the bracket that's connecting the exhaust to the exhaust manifold. Now that we got that undone, we could loosen the exhaust manifold bolts. Now that we got the exhaust manifolds off, we could start stripping the engine. Now we're stripping everything off the engine just because it's going to make it that much easier to pull it out once we get there. What I'm doing here is I'm pulling the distributor off. And I don't know if I've told you guys, but I've never done anything like this before. So this is a huge project for me, and I'm pretty happy with how it's turning out. Now this carburetor that I'm getting ready to take off is pretty old, and it's actually leaking fuel out of a few different spots. So instead of rebuilding it, I decided to go ahead and replace it with the 600 CFM Street Warrior carburetor from Holley. Now here's the engine completely stripped down before we pull it. From all the research I did prior, everyone said that it's easiest to pick the engine from the side of this car. So what you have to do is you take off the front driver's side wheel and make sure you have a 2-ton engine hoist so you get the reach on it. Also, you need to make sure that all 4 wheels on this engine hoist swivel. That way when you're pulling the motor, you could also push it forward to get it out. We decided to pull both the engine and the transmission out at the same time because we figured that would be easiest, and it was. Now that we got both of those out, let's take a look in the engine bay and see how dirty it is and if we could clean it up whatsoever. Alright, let's get to work and prep this thing for the new engine. So with this car being 54 years old, a lot of this old undercoating was peeling off, and even some spots there's some light rust on the frame. So what I'm doing is using 80 grit to take off any rust or any debris left over. And whatever I couldn't get with that 80 grit sandpaper, I'm coming back through with the wire wheel to really clean it up and get all those hard to reach spots. Anything that I couldn't reach with that wire wheel, I'm using this rust dissolver on. All you do is you paint it on, and it's supposed to stop rust in its place. Now that we got the rust taken care of, we're going to come through and paint on our undercoating. Now what undercoating does is it protects your car from any grime on the road and prevents it from rusting. Now it's super easy to use. It's by 3M. All you do is you paint on 3 coats of it, and you apply each coat within an hour of each other. Next up on the list is to get rid of all this old insulation in there. Looks terrible and it's really not doing anything. Now that all that's ripped out, we're coming through and we're cleaning under here with the wax and grease remover to get nice and clean for the new stuff to go in. Now that it's all clean, we installed the transmission installation and it fit perfect. All the insulation I got from Top Flight, and I couldn't be happier with the fitment. This new insulation should do a pretty good job on keeping the heat down inside the car. The new engine going in the car is a Performance 350 long block with 400 horsepower and is built by ATK. Here's a final look at the cleaned up engine bay before we toss that new engine in there. One last thing, I want to show you guys these long tube headers Holley sent out, and I wanted to thank them again for supporting the build. Next update on this car, we will be putting the engine in. Thanks for watching.